Welcome, coaches, to the Coaching Magic Podcast, where we reveal, discover, and create the insights, tools, and aha moments that make your coaching seem, well, magical. I'm your host, Jill Young, and I invite you to listen up, giddy up, and buckle up as we play with this creative profession of coaching that helps humans become their best, including you. Oh boy, coaches, we are in for a treat today. My guest is Steve Chandler. Lots of coaches, we lovingly call him the Godfather of coaching because he was a coach before coaching really existed. He's my favorite octogenarian, and this episode almost needs no introduction, but a couple of my favorite topics that we hit on today: the power of humor, the power of nothing. What? The power of optimism, but also the other side of optimism in this fear barrier. And of course, the power of coaches doing their own work. So today, I invite you to maybe grab a nice cup of tea. If you're driving, you can grab a cup of virtual tea, or maybe it's in your car. Cozy up, sit back into your own life, and enjoy the wisdom and love and presence of Steve Chandler. Enjoy. Okay, oh my gosh, Steve Chandler, you already know this, that I'm so excited to be here. Yay! Thank you so much for being on the Coaching Magic podcast. I don't know if I can say I'm your biggest fan because you have a lot of fans out there, but I like to count myself as one of your biggest fans. How about that?
Thank you.
Awesome. Now, last time we talked, you said that you would only come on the podcast if I played the theme song from The
No,
Godfather.
I was joking.
I know you were joking. And this is actually one of the first things I would love to explore with you. There's many things you have influenced in my life as a coach, but I would love to talk about a few of them and just let you unpack them for our audience today. One of them is the power of joking and play and humor. And I remember when I was a baby coach in your course, I came to your course and I opened up my notes to take very serious notes. And I'm like, at some point, this is going to get serious. At some point, he's going to teach me something real. And then I remember having this aha moment of, oh, he is teaching me something real. And I kind of locked into, or just eased into the hot tub of playfulness and humor. Can you unpack why that works? Why that works for coaches, why that works for our clients? I would love that.
Yeah, I think so. I believe from my experience, trial and error, doing seminars, especially for leaders, where everybody in the company, everybody in the corporation is all skeptical and resentful. They have to be. Who is this guy teaching us whatever? And I found the fastest way to open someone's mind is with humor. If they're laughing, they're relaxing, and something happens to the whole nervous system, and somehow the coagulated circular thoughts of judgment kind of dissolve and drop down into the heart when someone is laughing. So I once created a course for leaders. A company came to our corporate training company and said, we have a problem in our company with morale and attitude, and it's so bad. The people down in the factory on the lines, the production lines, are actually committing sabotage to the product. They hate the company so much.
Oh boy.
And so they said, "Do you have anything that we can train for cultural change, attitude shift?" And I was sitting there with the president of our company that taught these corporate courses, and we taught time management, goal setting, and things like that. And he started saying no, and I said yes. And he looked over at me, and somehow my intuition told me I could teach a course that might shift cultural attitudes. So anyway, I put it together, and it turned out to be my owner victim course
Oh, I
that I
love that one. I love that. Mm.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I wrote it in the book Reinventing Yourself. And it's all about shift in mindset from I'm a victim of everything to I take ownership of what I create given what's going on. And I would put up two flip charts, and I'd put owner language on one side and victim language on the other, and I'd walk back and forth. And then it hit me, the only way I'm going to get the audience to open up to shift, it's not if I say victim is wrong, it's not effective. If somehow I make victim look hilarious, ridiculously weak, ridiculously inaccurate, and made it funny. And so I decided, now where would I find humor there? And then, wait a minute, look at my own life. And all the years I spent just being a victim of everything. It just life is against me. I'm lost and afraid in a world I never made, and oh, everything's so hard, and I'm worried about everything. And I would tell stories and use examples of me and my children and uh, my resume. When I went into companies, they said, "What is your resume? What have you done?" Well, let me see. There's divorce, alcoholism, and bankruptcy. Those are three main things in my life. Well, where did you go to college? Did you study business? Well, I went to one of the great party schools, at University of Arizona, and I studied poetry writing. And they just stared at me like, are we on candid camera? Is this a joke? Who is this guy? So anyway, it's a very long answer to your question.
So here's what I heard is why humor works is because it works.
Yes, there you go. That's how smart I am.
But
That's as far as this brain will take it. It opens people up,
yeah.
and the judgmental, critical mind, self-critical and critical of others, is disappears when there's humor. That's why people
Mm.
love to go see Nate Bargatze and
Mhm.
Robin Williams and
Mhm.
Steve Martin. Uh,
Mm.
they can just relax the grip they have on life, day and night. All of a sudden, you're just free. There's freedom.
You can see those daily moments. You mentioned some comedians, and then Jerry Seinfeld fell into my mind too, of just
Yeah.
these daily hilarious and ridiculous things that we experience. And I'm also getting the sense that it helps or encourages people to zoom out
Yeah.
instead of being so tight and I must find a parking spot.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld will talk about that. Or out to, oh my gosh, that's the most ridiculous thing to spend my energy on.
Yes.
Mm,
Exactly.
mm. So all the hilarity that comes with regular life opens
That's right.
people up.
Yeah,
There's
I love the Seinfeld series because they look at all the little things
uh
that we do and how funny they really are.
how funny they really are. And one thing that I heard about the Seinfeld series is one of the rules they put in for the series is that these characters would be absolute ridiculous. They would have all of these experiences and they would never learn from them. They
Yeah.
would never learn from them. And somehow seeing the hilarity of that, even I can feel it right now, helps me see my own self. And if I'm making a 1% shift, I'm like, well, I'm better than Elaine
Yeah, yeah.
who's
Right.
learning nothing in a funny way.
You know, it's funny, Seinfeld was a show about nothing, and they made one of the episodes that they were gonna propose the show about nothing. I was in a corporate I was coaching a corporate group, and I had done all my courses. I had 3 courses, and after I finished my 3rd seminar in there, the leader came up to me and said, "Well, what's next? What's your next seminar?" And at the time, I was really broke and I needed money. And I thought, man, I got to come up with something. They're ready to pay me. So I had been watching Seinfeld and I said, it's a course about nothing. And, and he said, course about nothing? And I said, cause I was thinking, I got nothing. So how about a course about nothing? And I said, yes. And I started improvising and I said, yes, it's a course. I come in with nothing. But your people, they have everything. And so they're going to raise their hands and they're going to tell me where they're stuck and where it's not working. And I will work with them on that. And I will bring all the principles from the first 3 courses as solutions to everything they've got going on. And the guy said, oh, that's brilliant. We can't wait to have you in here. And I thought, oh, man, I got away with that one. So I did a course about nothing. I walked out and I said, "I've got nothing. What do you have?"
Steve, that is both so hilarious and so brilliant. The idea of nothing was the course, and really, like at the height of maybe whatever we would call the best coaching, is where the coach comes in, and I have no agenda.
Yeah.
It's your agenda. Uh,
Yes.
and now I know where that comes from is when you literally had nothing.
Yeah, it's the most beautiful way to show up is with no agenda.
Hmm,
I'll tell you where I learned that,
hmm,
and I used to coach coaches in that. Show up with no agenda. Don't try to guide or force your client in some direction. Allow them to bring their mindset and everything on their mind and then dance with that.
yes.
Well, one time I had 4 children that I had full custody of. And I was raising them, and one of them was really the rebel. She would just would wake up and think, how can I make things a little bit harder for dad? And she'd come up with all this stuff, and she was a real rebel. And I had this brilliant woman who was a psychotherapist. I was meeting with her over the phone. I was telling her about my daughter. And I said, I don't know how to handle her. I don't know how to connect. And she said, are you willing to try something? And I said, sure, I'll try anything now. And she said, for the next 2 weeks, between now and when you and I meet again, I want you to have conversations with your daughter and you have no agenda.
Hmm,
You're not going to parent. You're not going to teach. You're not going to advise. You're not going to correct. You have no agenda. You're going to listen and you're going to have a conversation, but that's it. And then you can go back to teaching and forcing and correcting and leading and guiding and controlling her. And you can go back to that if you want to. But I said, okay, I'll try anything. So I tried it, and I would sit next to my daughter on the couch, and I'd say, "So, how's it going for you?" And she'd kind of look at me and say, okay." And I'd say, "Great. How was your day today?" And she'd say, Okay, Dad, what's going on? I said, "What do you mean, what's going on?" Nothing. I'm just wondering how your day was." She said, "You're up to something." I said, "No, no." And then I'd sit quietly and we'd watch a little television. And then she'd kind of volunteer, "Well, I had an argument with my best friend. I'll tell you that." And I said, "Oh, wow. Tell me about that." And and then she would tell me, and then she'd stare at me and she'd say, "You're not gonna tell me what I should do? You're not gonna tell me how I created the problem? You're not gonna." "No, no, no, no. I understand." And, after 2 weeks, she and I were closer than we'd ever been. And there was I had no technique, I had no rules to follow. I wasn't trying to do anything. I was just being with her. What a concept, right?
Mm.
But it was amazing. No
No,
agenda. No
no.
agenda.
And now a short detour for a spark of curiosity. Today's episode is brought to you by orcamagic.com, where the Orca cards are for sale. Now, I chose 4 cards to highlight from the deck for today because Steve and I are talking so much about humor. The cards I'm highlighting are Laughter is the Best Medicine, Sacred Silliness, Invite the Trickster, and Die Laughing. You can purchase these cards for yourself. You can use them in your own coaching. I like to use them in the morning, sometimes in the evening when I'm doing my morning and evening routines. They keep me lighthearted and deep, and I would love to hear how you're using them. Of course, you can always join us at coachingmagic.com. We are currently enrolling for our spring semester for our school, and you can find all of the other shenanigans we've got going on for Coaching Magic too when you visit coachingmagic.com. Thanks a bunch. And now back to Steve. Dad, what are you up to? You're up to something. And I heard you say, I'm up to nothing.
Nothing at all. I'm
Nothing.
empty. I'm
I'm
showing
up.
up empty.
Yeah, I'm showing up empty. I'm feeling back into a coaching session I had last week. The the just such a beautiful heart-centered leader, and he really was pouring out his heart and having emotions. And I remember coming back into my mind thinking, I should have something to say right now.
Yeah.
And then also these things instantly happen in my magic, my essence. And I'm like, actually, I am doing something right now. I'm
Yeah.
just being. I
Yeah.
am I am whatever just being. I am simply being. And that has time and time again, he said that is what is most powerful for him is
Mhm.
just a loving, open, empty. I'm empty of everything that's not my magic, just presence. When
Yeah.
we say coaching magic, if we boil it down to one thing, it's presence.
Yeah, that's it.
And my goodness, can you say more about? Yeah, that's it. When I said coaching magic is just presence, I felt a little energy from you around
Yeah,
that.
that's it.
And
Well, I learned a lot about this from watching Hallmark movies.
perfect.
So the a lot of the Hallmark movies are similar to each other, and, my wife, Kathy, loves them, and so I end up watching a lot of them. So the woman's in New York, and she's engaged to this powerful guy in advertising, and he's powerful, he's rich, and he's powerful, and he's, good looking, and he's well dressed, and, she goes to her old hometown where
Mm,
her old high school was,
mhm,
and she meets this, uh, simple, wonderful guy in coveralls who has a little store in the town and is just happy and full of wisdom and wonderfulness, and she falls in love with him and has to break the engagement with the guy
mm,
back in New York, and all of her girlfriends gather around and say, "What is it about this guy, Jason, that you love so much? He doesn't have any of the
mm.
power and the money." And she says, "He gets me." He gets me. And that I see that and I bingo, that's it. When a client, if you're a coach, a client will hire you more because you get them, you understand them, then you impress them. You know, coaches, and I did this too. When I say coaches, I mean me in the early years, always tried to make an impression.
Hmm.
I have superior knowledge to you. That's why you're gonna hire me. I'm like a Pez dispenser of wisdom. You know those little
Mhm.
Pez
Oh,
things?
yes.
Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. So every time, um, the prospective client would speak, I wasn't really listening very deep. I was thinking, "What can I say back to the" I was composing my response.
Mhm.
What can I say that demonstrates superior wisdom? Because they're not gonna hire me if my wisdom is lower than theirs. I've got to keep demonstrating superior wisdom. And when I finally got, uh, wait a minute, maybe the mission here is for me to understand.
Mhm.
So rather than superior wisdom, I'm gonna be Sherlock Holmes. I'm gonna be Columbo. I'm gonna be, I just had one more question. I wanna be the one who is incredibly curious
Mhm.
in these first conversations. I wanna be a student of that person's life, not a teacher of business principles and things like that.
Mhm. Hmm. You 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 get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm.
Why'd you hire that guy? Divorce, bankrupt. He
Mm.
he understands us.
Mhm.
He gets us.
Mhm.
He's one of us. He's gonna be on the team instead of teaching us.
Mm.
They like that.
It reminds me of what you taught me early on of, um, get to the I'm gonna use the word understanding because we're getting to the understanding under the understanding.
Yeah,
It's not like any I'm gonna say any idiot coach, any idiot advisor, any idiot friend, including me, can see. I can go on to um, a coach's website and see what they are. I can go onto a client's website and see all the surface stuff.
yeah,
But it's the understanding under the understanding. And for me, I've been coaching teams for so long and
yeah,
businesses for so long, and my new understanding is that it's all everything comes down to the human being. It's it's not the business goals and the business structure and the business tools. That's helpful, so
yeah,
helpful.
yeah.
But the understanding is like deep, dropping into the heart, deep in the heart of the human.
Right, exactly.
Mm.
And one of the ways I like to think about it or talk about it is, um, every person I coach, especially people in business, but almost everyone has some professional life or some
Mhm.
job. There is the chess player, and then there's the chess board. If all I coach is the chess board, what the client is doing out in the material world, uh, that over time, I don't want to ignore that. I want to work with that, but I also want to work simultaneously with the chess player because this is really hard for coaches to do. I want to teach them not to have to rely on me. I want to
Mm.
have them find inside themselves what they can do. Ironically or paradoxically, the people who renew with me the most are the people who have found that they can do things without my advice. They found things in themselves. And a lot of coaches are kind of afraid. They want that person to rely on my superior
Mm.
wisdom. So they'll always go to the chessboard. You could do this. You should try that. You should talk to him this way. You should. And they get all these, okay. And the client says, okay, I'll try that. And they go try it. Hey, it worked. That was good. But nothing has changed inside the person on the level of being.
Mm,
That's the person is being the same judgmental,
mm,
fear-based, terrified person, just having some new tactics
mhm,
and techniques that work temporarily in certain instances, but nothing inside
mm,
at the level of being has shifted.
mm, mm. And for coaches, you said some coaches are fearful of this, to go to the
Yeah.
being side. It's been my experience. This is how I started for sure. I call myself an accidental coach, because I got into this business coaching stuff, and yes, someone told me my 3 roles in this EOS implementer role were a teacher. Mhm. I'm like, "Oh, great. I was a preschool teacher. I know how to teach. Check." A facilitator? Oh, boy, am I a facilitator. I can manage things and move things all around. And a coach. I'm like, "Well, yes. I'm a coach because I know how to tell people what to do."
Yeah.
And this was my image of what I could do. So I got in there and I'm doing all this chessboard work. And then what I experienced is the clients were quitting early. I'm like, "No, we're not done with all the chessboard stuff." But I had taught them enough that they could do the chessboard on their own. And then I wasn't like, "Well, I got it. I got all the tools.
Yeah.
What else do I need you for?" And I remember a coach saying to me, "Jill, you're not being bold in the coaching session." And that's when I found you, Steve. I'm like, "Okay, what is bold? What is like going to a what I felt like was a scary place?" And as I worked with you and your programs, one thing you said to me that I carry through coaching magic now is coaches need coaches.
Yeah.
What I discovered is I was not doing my own chess player work. So, of course, I was afraid to go there. I had not yet been able to look at my own past as this is the curriculum. I was like, "Oh my gosh, don't let anyone know I used to be a preschool teacher. That's ridiculous. That's hilarious. Don't let anyone know I'm this. Don't let anyone know I'm this." And with coaching, with my own, engaging in my own coaching, I was able to, um, and I'm still on the path of doing my own chess player work. Could you unpack that for a little bit? What
Yeah.
you see in coaches when they do their own work, what that looks like?
Yeah. It's so important because you really cannot authentically teach what you're not living. It because it becomes a concept.
Mhm. Mm,
So, for example, if I want to teach or share or open as an option, you might want to replace expectations with agreements.
mm,
But if I'm
mhm,
not doing that and I have no personal experience of doing that successfully in my life, then we human beings can really pick up on when someone is not being authentic or not speaking from experience, but
mm,
speaking from theory. So a
mhm,
lot of coaches will read a new book on something, oh, expectations versus agreements, and then they'll run in and teach it,
mhm,
but they haven't been coached in it
mm,
for their own life, and they have uh, this happens to me a lot with expectations agreements. A lot of my clients love the distinction so much that when they learn it, they go teach it right away.
mm,
Oh, I taught a course in this. Yeah, but you and I are working on the 12 expectations you have of your husband that he's not living up to, and how that triggers you and makes you so upset all day. And then you're teaching agreements over here, and it's not landing.
Mm,
They like it conceptually,
mm,
but because you're not teaching it from experience, when they ask questions or probe more deeply about it, you don't have answers. Because
mhm.
they'd come back to me and say, somebody raised their hand and said, what if someone's not keeping their agreement? And I would just laugh, and I'd say, well, what do you do when that happens? Oh, I haven't really done this agreement thing myself. I haven't
Mm,
done it with my teenager or my spouse or my mother or anything. And okay, well, you got to get this at an experiential level. Nathaniel Brandon told me once long ago, he was my coach back when there weren't such things as coaches.
Which is so cool, by the way. Coaches, look up the work of Nathaniel Brandon. That will
Yeah,
always blow your mind.
his work is great, but he said, if you're going to teach something, you have to become what you teach. You can't just learn what you teach. And if you don't become what you teach, it will not connect. It will be inauthentic. It will feel inauthentic. It won't feel real. You'll speak from theory. You'll go right to the whiteboard. You'll
Mhm,
give them a handout
mhm,
and you'll talk theory to theory. It'll be left brain to left brain. The
mhm,
right brain won't be involved because you don't have any stories to tell
mhm.
about your own life and what you do when someone appears to not be keeping an agreement. What do you do? Oh, I don't know. I don't live this. I used to tell people when someone would call me out about not actually doing something that's in one of my books, I used to say, I can either live this or teach it. I don't have time for both.
That that's perfect. That's
But
perfect.
inside that so-called humor, there's really a lot of truth in that.
Yes.
There so to your point, Jill, being coached is the most important part of being a successful coach. Allowing oneself to be
Mhm,
coached the deepest
mhm,
possible level. So throughout being coached, you're continuously crossing the fear barrier
mm, mhm.
about every little thing in your life. It takes away the fear.
It's, I was recently rereading, one of your books, Fearless. In one of the passages in that, you said, you shared 'cause everything I feel that you do, Steve, is a share versus Steve said, and this is just how I experience you. So I'm getting to feel what we're talking about. You are living this authentically because the word Steve said will just not come to my mind. It's Steve shared, and you shared that your observation of clients over the years up until you read that book is that everything was boiling down to everyone wanted courage. And you just said this when coaches engage a coach, it reduces the fear barrier.
Yeah.
And I know that's what I've experienced in my own life. The courage, getting the courage to hire a coach, spend the money on a coach, but then go into that coaching session um, open, honest, vulnerable, and exposing myself. That yes, there's a layer of fear. Is there something that you can share with the coaches of the maybe the thing that moves us over the barrier of from I'm feeling the fear of this is courageous into doing it?
Yeah. Well, one thing my coach used to tell me was, "It's always more scary up here than it is in life.
Hmm.
And it's always scariest in the future fantasy of it."
Hmm.
So most fear comes from thoughts about the future.
Hmm.
And one thing I would do with clients, because my coach used to do this with me, a client would come and say, "Well, I'm glad I have a session with you. I have a list of what I want to work on." And they'd start with a list and we would work. And when we got to the end of the session, they'd say, "Oh, I got one more thing, but we might not have time." And I said, "Well, what is that thing?" "Oh, well, my wife and I are considering getting a divorce." And I'd say, "Okay, you saved that for last." So I caught on really quickly because my coach would do this with me. He'd say, "Look at your list and tell me the one you're least comfortable talking about.
Hmm.
What's the thing on your list you uh, might hope we don't get to?"
Hmm.
And practice going there. Practice
Hmm.
the thing you fear the most when you sit down with your coach with your life's little issues, big issues they can be,
Hmm.
is the portal to freedom, courage, self-confidence. That right there is the portal. That's the door you want to walk through. The one you feel least like talking about. And after a while, through experience, you realize that fear is a signal from inside that there's a breakthrough ready to happen for you in this area.
Hmm.
This is where your freedom is. And it masquerades as fear. So bring it to your coach. Have it be the number one thing, not the number seven thing that you hope you run out of time
Hmm.
before you get to.
There is a beautiful paradox happening right now inside me of I am the kind of coach that, and I've been to your school, so I'm going to blame you.
Mhm.
that
That's fine.
yes, so I'm going to victim and blame you, right? Because
Good.
it's not
That's
me, it's you, of course.
all right. I'll
Uh,
take it.
there we go. I'm the kind of coach that coaches with optimism. And, early on from the preschool teacher age is Gartner's theory of multiple intelligences. Where are the strengths? I'm going to encourage the strengths. And then the weaknesses, they naturally float to the top and it feels with more ease and optimism and it works. And what I'm hearing you share here is, ooh, ooh, I'm just seeing this. Like, could I, as a coach, say, let's go the total opposite direction? Let's go to where your resistance is.
Yeah.
And can you play with that with me as a coach where I'm like, oh, this optimism thing works, but maybe I'm as a coach ignoring some other really cool portal here to open up a resistance.
Yeah. Well, you're right. The optimism thing is a good approach. It does work. It has a lot of value as a system.
Mhm.
Um, there is a lot of power in um, assisting and collaborating with your client in shifting a view from the most pessimistic interpretation of what's going on. Let's take a look over here at what could be good about this. So the power of optimism is important. I have an audio called "The Function of Optimism" that you're free to share. I can send
Thank
it
you.
to you. You can share it with your listeners. I'm not trying to sell
Perfect.
it.
Perfect. We will.
Um,
Thank you.
Optimism has a good function. When you learn to look in a more optimistic way at things, it is a good system for shifting your thought patterns out of uh, what we resist persists.
Hmm.
So the optimism approach, it has a high function and it works well. but it can, like you say, keep something hidden in a person's belief system, like I'm unworthy, I don't deserve money, I don't deserve being paid well for what I do, I'm an imposter. That can be hidden away forever if we don't go to, let's take a look at where you're least comfortable today, and let's take a look at what you are believing when you occupy that feeling of fear, that feeling of discomfort. What are you believing? And what is it based on? And usually we as coaches will find a belief that someone's carried all the way since childhood. I had a client who said, "I never finish anything." And I said, "Okay, so let's slow." He said, "I don't finish this. I'm a procrastinator. I didn't." I said, "So you never finish anything." And I use Byron Katie's system of, let's just find out if what he's believing that is making him very unhappy in life, is it even true? And so we looked at the things he had finished. I just said, let's slow down. Did you graduate from high school? And I knew he did because he pitched in college and he did things. And he said, well, yeah. And I said, well, hang on, before you just toss that away, do you know that right now, 48% of people in Los Angeles who go to high school don't finish? He said, what? I said, so you finished high school. That's something. So you can't validly say, I don't finish anything. It's not true. And we found other things. I said, did you get, what kind of shoes are you wearing? And I knew he was a hiker. He said, well, I've got these boots on. We were on the phone. I've got these boots on. Did you tie the boots? Did you lace them up? Yeah, of course I did. Well, of course. Did you start lacing and then finish lacing? Yeah. Okay. So you finished lacing, you finished getting dressed, you finished preparing for this call. And we finally found out that what was upsetting to him is he had something in the backyard he was doing that his wife was upset that he didn't finish. And I said, so you finish almost everything and you have something unfinished now. And you are like all of us in that we have stuff that we don't finish. All of us. So it's not unique. There's nothing about you that's unique. And it is not true that you don't finish anything. You finish almost everything. Now, what is unfinished that you would like to finish? And let's create a system together that would guarantee the finishing of that. So that's kind of a long story, but that is, you'll find it inside these fears that people have. You'll find it's in their belief system, the origin of the fear.
And going to, I have this image in my mind. It was building as you were talking, almost a continuum, but somehow I feel like it wraps around. It will probably land later today, but it's this feeling of beyond optimism. So getting someone from the skepticism, the cynical into the optimism, yes, and then once they can see that, then go into now go into the resistance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe like this, I sense it as an energetic bell curve. It's like, we're here. Okay, go up to the optimism. It gives you energy to then dip down into where are my resistances.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I love that life is a paradox. Um,
Mm.
I often say I'm a walking contradiction because I wanna be here, and it's the holding all of it at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
holding
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's,
So you're like everybody else.
yeah, that's right.
You're
Yeah.
even like Chris Christopherson, who's saying he was a walking contradiction, partly truth and partly fiction.
Perfect. Perfect. And the fiction part is fun. The fiction part
Well,
is
that can be
fun.
fun.
Yeah, yeah, the fiction part can be fun. Um, Before we start wrapping this up, I want to talk about or ask your insights around distinctions. You have taught and shared um, insights and shared from experience using this method of teaching with distinctions. Some of my favorites that we've already touched on: owner victim distinction. um, I love the serving and pleasing has been so useful, especially for the female coaches that I
Yeah.
coach, has been really powerful. Um, can you talk about maybe why you feel or you've experienced that distinctions work so powerfully with humans?
Yeah, I think my love of, distinctions,
Mm,
like owner victim was a great distinction for corporate people.
mm,
You're either thinking this way or that way
mhm,
because it simplifies. It doesn't complicate all the different nuances
mhm,
of human thought and background. It's just like, hey, um, is that a victim thought or are you taking ownership?
mhm,
But when I was in California teaching people who weren't corporate, who were more, well, California, it's more wide open in thinking. I changed the title to creator versus reactor.
mm,
So you're either
mhm,
creating or reacting.
mm,
So you have a bad relationship with your mother or your daughter. You're either in the process of creating a better relationship or you're reacting to their behavior and words. You can't do both. But with a distinction like that, you're simplifying it so people don't have to think through all the different
mhm,
aspects of the relationship. They can just say, well, I'm going to switch right over. I'm going to go from here to here. I'm going to go from reacting. I'm going to create. And what would you like to create instead of how are you reacting? Why are you reacting? Whose fault is it? Just start creating. So distinctions give people a way of simplifying the choice they have. It brings them right into living by choices instead of
mm,
living by
mhm,
reaction to everything around me.
mm,
And so it makes it simpler. And for
mhm,
me, I didn't have the brain capacity to learn all the the
mm,
complexity of psychology
mm,
and business.
mm.
They're too complicated. Let's keep it as simple as we can.
As simple as we can. I'm a big fan of simple. And I also heard in there that somehow these distinctions create this possibility that an instant transformation can occur.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
can occur. I can in an instant, and I've heard you teach this. Sometimes we hear out in the world, it's like, oh, transformation takes a long time. I struggled with this for 10 years. You can't
Yeah.
teach old dogs new tricks. This is a groove in my brain. This is an old pattern, an old habit. Like we hear these things, and so we accept them and say, oh, yep, that's going to take me a long time. But I love to hold the possibility for myself and my clients that it really can happen like that. Even when I
Sure.
just snap my fingers, I feel it in my body that we can. And the distinction, I'm just having this right now, the simplicity of that distinction. If you, if you as a coach or any of us as a coach have said, okay, here's my 10-step process, Well, then immediately I've put that in my client's mind that it's going to take them 10 steps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas if it's
Exactly.
creator reactor, I hold the possibility that it can be simple. It can be, I'm going to use the word effortless. It really can be. And maybe we have held on to, because we are common humans, right? Common humanity, that it has to be hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's right. We've heard that. We get conditioned that way.
Mm,
It's gotta be hard
mm,
work, can't be simple,
mm,
um, and things can happen in a heartbeat. We can change someone who is in a very difficult exchange with their business partner or their life partner, and they're gonna send this, angry email,
mm,
and they share with me the email. And before I read it, I can give them a distinction. I say, "You can come from love or you can come from fear."
mm,
And anger is a form of fear. Anger is a cover for
mm,
fear.
mhm,
So which is this email gonna be before I even read it? And they would facepalm and say, "Well, it's coming from anger and fear." Okay.
mhm,
You can rewrite it and come from love.
mhm,
Make the same points you're making without but delete the blame, the shame, the judgment,
mm,
and just let them know what doesn't work for you and come from love. And so that didn't take 10 years of therapy. That was in the
mm,
moment, just making a choice.
mhm, mhm,
And you make enough of those over time, and there is transformation through practice.
mm.
But it can happen right now, like you
Yep.
said,
Yeah.
right now.
Yep. I have this visual in my mind of in a coaching session, and I could just see it. It just, this is sometimes how my coaching magic works. I just sense this essence of something of coaches. We can insert a wedge into time
Hmm.
and slow everything down and just pull that apart. And we create this space for the client to move into creator
Yeah,
versus reactor. And as we do that for clients and with clients, we do that with clients, then they create this habit of knowing I can stop time, and maybe it only takes me in, on this human planet, it's a fraction of a second, but I can slow it down in my soul and choose, am I coming from fear or love?
yeah,
And then respond instead of react. That slowing down,
yeah.
everything can slow it down.
Yeah, because in our culture, everything is so sped up
Mm,
and everybody's got too much to do and not enough time to do it. And they're trying to do everything so
mm,
fast that they're making all these mistakes and they're forgetting to do important things. And they're wondering why, if they've succeeded on this front, why they don't feel any happier
mhm,
when they dreamed that that's all I would need
hmm,
to feel happier. And it doesn't work
hmm,
because they're so sped up that the mind has been conditioned to look for a better future every time it visits the now for however briefly. There must be a better now than now. I'm looking for a better now, so the mind goes right to the future, and so it doesn't appreciate now. And that's a conditioning. That's just
mm,
social, societal, or parental, or wherever.
mm,
And and people think conditioning is over by the time you're 9 and you're stuck with your personality or whatever. It's not true. Conditioning happens every moment, and the great thing is once you're old enough, mature enough, awake enough, you're in charge of the conditioning now. How do I
mm,
want to condition myself moving forward?
mhm. My 3 sons are, um among my greatest mentors,
Mm,
and they will say to me, "Mom, you're our mentor." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that my 10 most powerful moments of awakening or becoming conscious or choosing to be a creator versus a reactor have come in your presence."
mm.
So of course you are leading me, and uh it's those times when I think about those is when I have noticed that I am way far into my mind is way into the future. I'm worrying. And I have consciously chosen to kind of sit down in my life. Okay, sit down just like you were with your daughter, sit on the couch. What's going on today? And it's so beautiful to just sit down in my life right now and have had this conversation with you, and
Likewise.
uh just honor this moment, honor our past together, honor our future together, because our future is is brighter than our past, and but my present is glowing in
Yeah,
this moment. So thank you. Mm, thank you. Thank you for being a mentor, and thank my children for being a mentor. Same thing.
absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Steve, I also know that you are big on games. So if you would be willing to play a game with me at the end of this podcast, how about that?
Sure.
Yes, he's willing, my friends. We're gonna play a game. Um, that Coaches, Steve uses games to create systems. It's so much fun. It's not a hard system to play. It's gamified. I just love that. Um I created a game with my youngest son last night with something that he was playing with. But this is the game we're going to play. I have this set of cards, and I happen to
Okay.
know that you're into cards these days. This card deck is called the Sweet Ass Affirmations. So I'm gonna pull. It's funny. They're funny. I'm gonna and a little irreverent,
Okay.
which is fun. I'm gonna pull one of these, and then you get to share what comes up for you. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the game. And then I will also share what comes up for me, and you get to choose who goes first. So here it goes. I just pulled it. All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. As my lighthouse shimmers for others, it lights my own way too. As my lighthouse shimmers for others, it lights my own way too. I love this one for Steve Chandler, Godfather of coaching. Whew. Who do you choose to go first? With like flipping a coin.
I choose you.
Okay.
I wanna hear your reaction to that.
Mm. This calls me back to my own story of I go first. Um, if I have been called to this beautiful profession, this creative profession of coaching, as my lighthouse shimmers for others, it lights my own way too. I go first when I expand my own shimmer. It invites it invites the clients who have said yes to my invitations. It invites them to shimmer, and my language has changed over the years of I must shimmer first
Mm,
to I get to I get to shine first, and my shining is the invitation. It's not my words or my, what did you call it earlier? You called it, it's not my, and now I can't see it on my notes, so it doesn't want to come through. It's not my knowledge or my impressive use of psychology and tactics. The shimmer comes from my heart.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, my response to that was, if I have my spiritual life together
Hmm.
and my devotion, my deliberate, intentional inspiration, my morning ritual,
Mm-hmm.
that others are no longer others.
Hmm.
The light that then shines doesn't have them occur to me as others anymore.
Hmm.
That we're together, we're one.
Mm. I feel that. Thank you. Steve, thank you for your dedication to shining that light for others and coming all the way to that we are one.
Yes. You're welcome.
Thank you. What a beautiful gift you are to all of us, including yourself, as we are all one. Mm.
I love the story you make up about me.
Thank you for inviting me to hold on to it in a non-attached way.
Touche.
Thank you. It brings me much delight. Oh, Steve, thank you. I know you have recently come out of retirement because you said it didn't work for you. If someone were want to follow your work or engage you for some other creative way, what's the best way to get more of Steve Chandler these days?
SteveChandler.com. And I
Perfect.
have free tips that go out every week that don't cost anything.
That's right.
And if you sign up for those, you don't have to pay anything to access. And nothing I do beyond that is really any better than the tips I send out.
Uh,
So you're a fool if you try to pay more money than that.
I love that. And um, I will second that your daily tips are beautiful. And everything on your website is inspiring to me. Thank you.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for your time, Steve. Love you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for playing with me today in the land of coaching magic. If you want more magic, I invite you to explore www.jillyoung.com. This is where you can see all the shenanigans I've created for you to expand your world of coaching. See you there. And remember, you are magic.